What's going on? Doc Danny here, the Pizza on North podcast. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Danny Matta. I'm the founder of Physical Therapy Biz, a company that's helped over 1,000 cash and hybrid-based clinicians both get started as well as scale their practice up. I started a cash-based practice about 12 years ago and was able to grow that practice and eventually successfully sell it and exit that business to really focus on helping clinicians grow their businesses to 7+ figures in revenue and being able to do something similar if they want to either autopilot or sell their practice. And recently, I was able to sit in a room with about 200 clinicians that we work with and help them with their businesses. Now, this is an event that we do twice a year. We call this our Mastermind Live event. And it's a fun time for us to come together for a couple of days to really work on our businesses instead of in our businesses. And everyone leaves with lots of things to do and lots of great ideas, as well as great connections that they've met with people. And I like to think of it like recharging your battery. Running a business can be really hard. And it's draining, all the work you have to do, all the decisions you have to make, and all the rejection oftentimes that we face early on in starting our business. And it's an opportunity for people to come together and recharge their battery, be around a lot of positive people doing similar things, and get their mind right to then go for the next 6 months before we meet again. And one of the takeaways I had this year from a lot of individual conversations I had was about recurring revenue. So revenue that is generated every single month without having to go out and find new business. And this is obviously a part of what we do because we have people that come in that see us that have injuries, and when those injuries resolve, for many of them, they go back to whatever they're going to do, and we're not really a part of their week and their month at that point. And some people, they are, right? We obviously have ongoing work we can do with many people, but one of the revenue streams, one of the options that we do have as clinicians is an opportunity to work with small groups of people in more of a wellness, performance, and or bridge program that really does lend itself well to recurring revenue. And I was asked this question at the event, and it was, if you had to add $50,000 in recurring revenue to a clinic, what would you do? And the number one thing that I would do would be to get them to implement a small, semi-private or small group training program that was only a couple times per week. And I'll describe what this is and give you some numbers behind it. So one of the things we did whenever I was in the military was what we called bridge programs. Now, bridge programs are basically small group training programs for specific types of injuries. Like we would have upper extremity and lower extremity bridge programs. We'd have late stage ACL bridge programs. And this is actually where our athletic trainers, our strength coaches, they would teach classes that were a couple days a week that were really very much exercise based. And, the program was definitely overlaid by PTs working with them in order to develop it and progress it correctly. But it was implemented by these coaches, right? But it was nice because misery loves company. You're doing something together with other people. And it turns out to be like a pretty good training session in transition to whatever it was they were going to get back into. In most cases, it was getting back to their, whatever their military unit was, getting back to regular physical training. But in our scenario, working with the civilian population, how can we have something similar? And this is something that we actually started to set up, about a year before we sold our clinic. And this was what we called our semi-private training group or our small group training group. And this is basically the way it looks. And this is how a clinic can add another $50,000 in revenue, recurring revenue, on an annual basis to their clinic with a very small number of people and a very simple program. So we run 2 days a week, a class, and we do that. At this point, the clinic that we sold does this much more than this, but let's say you're just trying to add $50,000 in revenue. You do 2 days a week and you'd have 2 separate classes. So let's say you have a Monday, Wednesday, from 5:30 to 6:30. This is before we have treatment hours. This is before people have to take their kids to school. This is a time when you can catch people that want to get training in before their busy day. So Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday. And let's say we max this group out at 6 people. If we get 6 people in each of these training groups, we do that 2 days a week. And 8 times a month, roughly, right, is where we're at. And we charge $400 a month per person, which is what our clinic charged in Atlanta, in a part of the city that was, I would say, relatively affluent area, but not like the most expensive area by any means. And if you find 12 people that you can do that with, you've got yourself $4,800 per month. So if we take 12 and we multiply it by 400, that's where we get that number. And over the course of a year, that will generate you about $57,000 in recurring revenue. Now, what's really cool about this is all of these people that we've been able to move over to this small group platform are patients. And not only that, but these are patients that really, they would never step foot in any of the bigger, more functional fitness facilities that we have partnerships with. So we're not stepping on anybody's toes because we're not taking any of their clients. And these are people that wouldn't really be appropriate for them anyway. The only people that it's probably, maybe appropriate for would be like a very specialized personal trainer that understands how to work with, special populations and make modifications to someone's program. But what's cool for us is we now have all this trust we've built with people, and we can help them train and add in very intelligent program that's multi-directional training. It's not just sagittal plane training, and it can be more complex and it allows us to also make on the spot progressions and regressions because we understand these people really well, and they can tell us how they're feeling, and we can adjust things on the fly because there's only 6 people. So this is twice a week. There's 2 groups. Right now, the clinic that we sold, they have 4 groups of 6. So you can do the math on that. It's a substantial recurring revenue stream for that clinic right now. And we already have a gym space. We don't really need more equipment. We may have bought a few things to really help optimize the space, but not much. And it's an opportunity for our clinicians who we have actually teach the classes. It's not a strength coach. Nothing against them, but for us, our clinicians enjoy teaching these types of classes. It allows them to use their brain in a slightly different way. So they're coaching a group of 6 versus 1-to-1. It's a nice, difference of their day to be able to do that. And it counts as a treatment visit, right, towards our total that we have them see on a monthly basis. And it is not that complex. And obviously there's all these little questions you have about what if somebody's on vacation, what if, whatever, any number of questions you have logistically. And these are all things that we help our clients figure out on a day-to-day basis, but don't make it more complex than it needs to be. Here's the simple math, and here's all you have to know. If you're looking to add recurring revenue to your business and you have a gym space, you have an opportunity to have small group training in there that can make a substantial difference in your recurring revenue and essentially offset your rent, potentially more of your overhead than that. That is a really good place to be for people that don't really have a place to go and train outside of maybe a specialized personal trainer. And you get a chance to then take those folks, help them get stronger, help them move better, and help them actually have a community of people, which is a really cool thing to see. Is these small groups, they tend to really enjoy being around each other. And they get breakfast together, a couple times a month, and they're tight knit by the end of, even a couple of months of them training together. So if I was to add $50,000 in recurring revenue to a clinic, this is the way that I would go. I think it's the simplest approach. It's a very simple marketing process. Your clients are who you're marketing to. You don't even have to go and market outside of your own business. And it's a great way to have people stick around. And we find the stick rate to be very high. We have some people that have trained with us for 3 years straight and have not left at all. And many of them are 2 years plus without any turnover. So once you find them, they stick around for a long time, which is a great thing for the business. So in summary, if you're going to add recurring revenue to your business, you want to add $50,000, 2 small group training groups, I think is the easiest way to go about it. You can charge more if your clinicians run it. You can charge that at a premium versus if a strength coach runs it, and it gives them an opportunity to use their brain in a slightly different way. So if this looks like something that maybe you want to implement in your clinic, head to physicaltherapybiz.com. Take a look at what we got going on. We'd love to help you take a look at your business and see where maybe you can optimize some things and really bring it up to standard based on what we see and benchmark that across the hundreds of clinics that we work with. You can go there, pick a time to talk to one of our staff members. If nothing else, it'll be a very valuable use of your time to really get some clear information about, what you're doing well and what you should be doing differently in your business, whether you decide that we're a fit to help you get there or not. It's still an incredible, hour you get to spend with our advisors who talk to business owners like this all the time. So as always, thank you for listening and watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.